Also this morning, Donald Trump hitting the campaign trail on a day off from his criminal trial here in New York. In court yesterday, the former president was held in contempt, fined $9,000 and threatened with jail time for his repeated violations of the gag order in the case. On the stand, jurors also heard from the lawyer who helped broker hush money agreements for Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal over their claims of affairs with Mr. Trump just before the 2016 election. And all of this, of course, amid the backdrop of those campus protests just blocks away. We've got Laura Jarrett here, as you can see. We've got Peter Alexander as well. We'll get to the trial in a moment. Laura, let's talk about what we're seeing. This is leading every single newscast. You see this chaos on college campuses. The president, as I understand, former President Trump, calls into Fox News, sees a moment here, sees a political advantage here.
Well, that's exactly right. And for Democrats, there is a real fear of protest backlash right now. Privately, among Democratic lawmakers, they are sharing videos and pictures of what's happening on these campuses across the country right now. And this is an issue that really sort of demonstrates the divides within the Democratic Party. So that's the real concern for them. Think about this. This started at fundraisers and at speeches, including those done by the president. Now it's at campuses across the country. And the more the focus is on issues like this right now, this chaos that Donald Trump wants to amplify, much like he did about the same chaos we saw after the death of George Floyd in the summer of 2020 before the last election, it takes away from the issues the Democrats want to be talking about. Issues like reproductive rights, issues more broadly about health care, and frankly about the alleged crimes committed by Donald Trump himself.
Well, I know there's a concern also that it depresses Democratic turnout because there's this divide, but there's a certain irony because if the people that are upset about the Biden administration's Gaza policy stay home, then you're going to have former President Trump, who is more hawkish on Israel than President Biden.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right on that issue in particular. And that is one of the concerns, is the potential for a depressed turnout among young voters right now. That's why you're really hearing the urgency privately and publicly from the administration right now for a diplomatic breakthrough as it relates to the situation between Israel and Gaza, with talks ongoing in that region. We heard from the national security spokesperson saying right now, in effect, that there has to be this deal. This deal has to happen now. They recognize the need to get this done, and they hope that a breakthrough could simmer some of these tensions.
Let's talk to Laura about the trial. So it's an off day. On every Wednesday is an off day. Yesterday, the former president was held in contempt by the judge for repeated violations of the gag order, and then the judge kind of gave a shot across the bow.
He said to him, look, if you keep doing this, I'm going to have to exact a more serious punishment. And the only other punishment available to him, other than a $1,000 fine, is jail time. He's made it clear he doesn't want to do that. He recognized in his order there are First Amendment concerns. He realizes he's dealing with the Republican frontrunner. But if he doesn't do what he would do for any other defendant, he's going to look ineffectual. And I think that's the tension that the judge is experiencing right now. And this is not even over. We're going to be back in court tomorrow with more alleged violations of the gag order, more different statements that the prosecution is asking him to be held in contempt of again.
This gag order is kind of like a little mini trial that's going on. Meanwhile, as for the trial, we had a lawyer on the stand yesterday who was privy to these negotiations and the payments to the porn star, to Stormy Daniels and to Karen McDougal, who alleged that she had a relationship with the former president.
He was there to try to take the jury inside how all of these payments actually started, right? Last week, we heard how Donald Trump was in the room for the alleged plot as they were talking about catching and killing bad stories. Well, then now we're actually in the moment where the hush money is being transferred over to Stormy Daniels. But we are yet to be at the point where we understand Donald Trump's connection to any of this. We've heard a lot about Michael Cohen. We have not heard as much about Donald Trump.
And you pointed out, I mean, these are hush money payments that on their terms are not illegal. The issue is whether or not business records were falsified.
Yes. It's all about the cover-up.
And is
for
that
prosecutors.
Right. Prosecutors, they're not there yet.
No.
Are they getting there?
That's the question, is whether the jury is getting enough to understand where they're going and whether they feel like their time is being wasted. That's always a balance for these cases.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't miss the Today Show every weekday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on our streaming channel, Today All Day. To watch, head to today.com/allday or click the link right here.